Also, I like his music. He doesn't ever play for us. Well,
Ooh, maybe he'll make an appearance at some point.
Yeah.
With a little saxophone.
Yeah. Oh, he would probably love to.
You can't reach that.
Isn't that one of the conditions in the ketubah to do your wife's hair?
than yours.
I don't think any of us signed up for that one.
I think some of the wives would be a little skeptical too, or other spouses.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. Shabbat shalom. Hi, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom, Rabbi Jill.
I can hear Rabbi Jill, but I can't see her.
Can't see me?
No, we can't see you. Oh, I see you up there.
I see you.
Yeah, I see you, Rabbi Maderer.
I see Elle. I see Elle very ready for this Shabbat.
Yeah.
See Katie?
Gallery again.
Don't see her yet. We'll keep
Oh
looking at
God, Dakota.
it. I see Golda. Shabbat shalom.
Golda's very sophisticated, but not yet ready for the bat mitzvah, right? I was looking for our bat mitzvah kids. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
You'll
Golda's
get there,
got a few more
Golda.
years.
You gonna say Shabbat shalom?
Landau's. Hi, Landau. Shabbat shalom.
You get that many people.
Rebecca, good to see you, Rebecca.
It's a cat. And it's hat. And you put it to what?
That's neat.
Okay, ready?
You get told all sorts of
Rachel.
Hi, Jean.
lunch sometime.
Hey, how you
Hi,
doing?
Betsy.
Hi, Betsy.
Good to see you, Len and Alice. Great to see
Yeah,
you.
good to see you.
Yeah. Alice.
Be happy when we can see you in person.
Welcome.
Oh,
That'd be
yeah.
nice.
Linda?
Be
Hi, Ed.
happy with them.
In person, what is that?
Hello, Felderman family.
Shalom. Shabbat shalom.
everyone.
Shabbat
Oh, it's the whole
shalom.
family.
See the same Landau's.
No.
Mall got past your house the other day, and I waved, but I didn't see her in the window.
Eating your dinner.
Were you visiting your daughter?
Yeah, I was walking the buddies. Yeah.
Everybody get, so now you can see them again.
Yeah, I turned
Yeah.
off my camera.
All 65.
Show the ceiling in person.
So,
They're showing you again.
Someone has a good echo going.
Says 5:15.
That's what you were going for. You're succeeding.
Oh, look, there's Zachary Claire's family. My bad.
Hi, Adele. Shabbat shalom. Good to see you.
I like who's ever describing the geography of the squares. It's quite enjoyable.
Danielle. Hey, Daria. Shabbat shalom. Hey, Chuck. Hey, Walter.
Are we going to see your girls?
Roger.
Three of them?
Got confused there. Hey, Chuck. Hey, Roger.
Rabbi, will we see your girls?
Josephine said she would definitely make an appearance probably at the end of services. So stick around for the after show,
Okay.
the after party.
Okay. That's cute.
Okay. One more minute.
All right.
Father.
Okay.
Great to see everyone landing. Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Good Shabbos, Rabbi.
Good Shabbos. Good to see Ed. Good to see everyone. Rabbi Friedman, do you see both of our bat mitzvah families?
I see the Feldermans. I don't see our other family. So hopefully they will log on soon. We'll keep a
excited to see
lookout.
them
Yeah,
both.
I don't see them
I
yet.
see Ellen and Stan. Hi.
Shabbat shalom, Len and Alice.
Shabbat
Hi.
shalom.
Good Shabbos.
Yeah.
Shabbos.
Hi, Avi. Oh, look, Golda B.
Both are on. We got it.
B. Hi, Golda B. Look at that face. Look at that. Look. Oh, look at that face.
Golda, you're on mute.
Hey,
Go,
Kate.
you're
Hey,
on
Jeff.
mute.
Hey, Ezra.
Go ahead.
I think Levi's there probably somewhere.
Golda
Oh, there you go.
Hi, Mommy.
Avi, you want to say hi to Heshi and David?
No,
Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Fiona.
I see what I made.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Uh-oh, I think we just hung up. No, I think- Oh, no, we didn't.
Oh, look at Bobby Wolf. Look at that. Look how big he is. God.
All right. One last Shabbat Shalom, and then we're going to head on to mute.
Shalom,
and
everybody.
Shalom,
start our service. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's so good to see your faces. Shabbat Shalom to congregants and friends and guests, and to Rebecca Robinson, co-leading with us tonight. Thank you for being back with us again tonight, Rebecca. Welcome. In our leadership and congregation, in our equity, inclusion, diversity work that we call AID, EID, which stands for, and in Hebrew means witness, we are working to ensure that our efforts to welcome are not perfunctory. And sometimes welcome is not even the right word, because what we really mean is not for insiders to indicate others as outsiders. What we really mean is we strive for us all to feel that we belong, that we are building a covenantal community, a sacred bond with each other and with God that is only complete when we all belong and when we all are witness to each other's full presence. Last week, during our pre-Shabbat service meet and greet, an informal conversation among congregants transpired that involved pronoun use. The intent of the comments was not at all hateful, but this comes to serve as a reminder that outcome, more than intent, is what shapes our culture. The outcome was there were people here who heard it and felt hurt and marginalized. And for that, I am truly sorry. Thank you to Rabbi Friedman, who in the moment interrupted and taught that when cisgender people, that is people whose gender identity matches their gender assigned at birth, use pronouns, for instance, in our Zoom name and in referring to others by their correct pronouns, it is an act of solidarity and belonging with transgender and gender nonconforming people. I never want this to be a place where anyone feels unsafe. That's not who we are. This is a place not to hide or minimize any part of our identities. We are all learning. And to help us, our PRISM and AID leaders are working on a covenant of interaction in the spirit of the BREAT covenant we composed in our anti-racism work group. In all of our authenticity, thank you for continuing to help us build a covenantal community. With the prayer that they inspire us to be our highest selves, we now welcome the angels of Shabbat from on high with the singing of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Sharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Sharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Nil Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Nil Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Nil Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Seitchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Seitchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Seitchem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
When this week I had the opportunity to be interviewed on a podcast called Seekers of Meaning, I was asked how this year changed my faith. It's an interesting question we might take a moment on. Take a deep breath. How has this year changed my faith? In addition to sharing that my faith in God can be shaky, but that's not a change, I shared that what has truly been renewed is my faith in my congregants, the way nothing has gotten in the way of our Shabbat connection. It renews my faith. And I am looking forward to slowly, incrementally discovering some in-person possibilities together. On a Friday evening very soon, rather than Zoom from home only, a small group of us will Zoom from outside at Rodef Shalom, a little experiment in our aim to bring the divine presence with us onto the driveway and be outdoors in safety. I am thinking of it as a Mishkan service, much like the Mishkan, the outdoor tent in the Israelites' journey in the wilderness. If you would like to be in the lottery pool to participate in the in-person Mishkan service on April 30th, rain date following Friday, please email clergyoffice@RodephShalom this week, clergyoffice@rodephshalom.org this week. Most of the congregation will Zoom in that night, as you are used to doing, at the very same time. Thank you for coming on this journey through our wilderness with us. As for this Shabbat, this week, our congregation celebrates the Benot Mitzvah of Elle Felderman and Katie Haves. To kindle our Shabbat lights and lead the parents' blessing, we invite Katie with her mother Valerie. To lead Kiddush and Motzi, we invite Elle with her parents, Lauren and David, and siblings Ari and Josie.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvoto v'tivanu ladlik ner shel Shabbat. Lift the glasses.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. And you can continue with the parents' bless. Do you have the parents' blessing there, Valerie?
I have it. It was, yeah.
Only if it's handy.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yismecha Elohem Sarah, Rivka, Rachel Leah. Yivarecha Adonai Vayesh Merecha. May God show you favor and grace gracious to you. Yaeh Adonai Panav Elocha Vihehu Neka. May God show you kindness and grant you peace. Yisa Adonai Panav Elecha Vayasim Lecha Shalom.
Mazel Tov. Thank you, Katie and Valerie. Elle, will you continue with our Kiddush with your family?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. L'chaim. Do you have a challah there?
Yes.
Baruch
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Have a bite b'te'avon. Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov. We continue in song.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelom. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelom. Yamamai, mai, mamai, yamamai, mai, mamai, Yamamai mai mamai mai mamai mai mamai Yamamai mai mamai Yamamai mai mamai Yamamai mai mamai mai mamai mai mamai Yismechu hashamayim V'tagel haaretz Yiram hayam Umelon Yismechu hashamayim V'tagel haaretz Yiram hayam Umelon Yamamai mai mamai Yamamai mai mamai Yamamai mai mamai mai mamai mai mamai Yamamai mai mamai Yamamai mai mamai Yamamai mai mamai mai mamai mai mamai Yismechu hashamayim V'tagel haaretz Yiram hayam Umelon.
With the joy of a wedding, we sing, we dance, we tap the table, and we welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, ishmianu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, לשמול תפארת בלי תחילה, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nechad, ki mekor hameracha, merosh mikadem nesucha. Sof maaseh b'machshava tchila, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki vorech u'miuri, uri shidaberi, kevod Adonai alaych nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom materet bala, gam besimcha u'vetzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. We continue with the Baruch Hu. All who are able are welcome to rise. Yadadai dai dai, 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 yadadai dai dai. Baruch hu et We continue with the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
In our broken world, longing for redemption, the poetry of Bertolt Brecht calls to me. In dark times, will there also be singing? Yes, there will also be singing about the dark times. For all kinds of times, we sing Michamocha.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Who is like you, Adonai?
A gem shared with me by a colleague. It is a myth that self-care is a solo act. May we be present for each other in care, that none of us is solo. As we prepare for our blessing for healing, if you have a loved one who faces COVID-19, other illness, loneliness, or brokenness, please share that name in the chat now.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We are in the period known as the Omer in the Jewish calendar, the time from Passover to Shavuot, from the Exodus of Egypt to the revelation at Mount Sinai. And during this time, we count each night. And so I'll invite you to join with me in the blessing on the bottom of page 10. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav etzivanu al svirat haomer. Hayom esrim yom shehem shnei shavuot v'shisha yamim laomer. Today is the 20th day, which is 2 weeks and 6 days of the Omer. We'll now continue with our tefillah on page 11 and following, first with the words Adonai Sifatai together, and then continually silently with the words on the page or the prayers of your heart.
Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Agiti Latecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Yadadai, 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 yada die die die, yada die die die. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel.
Shabbat Shalom. In the rabbinic book Pirkei Avot, The Ethics of Our Ancestors, Rabbi Ben Bagbag, I know, the best name ever, famously said, Hafachba v'hafachba decholba, turn it and turn it, for everything is in it. He was speaking about the Torah. Each year, we physically turn the Torah scroll and come back around to the same Torah portion. We reread our sacred text in a cycle, turning the words around in our mind as well. And each year, when we come back around, the words in the Torah are the same, but we are different. Rabbi Ben Bagbag's words feel especially relevant to this week's double Torah portion, Tazria Metzora, known to every B'nai Mitzvah student as the portion you hope not to get, because of its graphic details about skin diseases. Tazria Metzora is about pandemics, quarantines, and ultimately how we return back to normal. Tazria Metzora is what we call a double portion, two portions often read together, except on leap years, when the extra month in our Jewish calendar necessitates splitting them up and reading them over 2 weeks. I mention this because this double portion, Tazria Metzora, seems to be telling two parts of the same story, two parts of a story that we have lived over this past year, two parts of the same story of this pandemic, going into quarantine and coming out of it. The first portion, Tazria, is about identifying a contagious skin disease and sending the affected person out of the camp to quarantine. We read in our Torah, if it appears to go deeper than the skin, and there is thin yellow hair in it, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. The priest shall isolate the person with the scaly affection for 7 days. When we read this portion last year, we were only 2 months into this pandemic. There was still so much we didn't know about the spread, and all we could focus on was the quarantine. I look back at my sermons from this time last year, and we were all just in survival mode, trying to figure out how to care for our children, our parents, our friends, our family, how to do our jobs from home. All we could see was the isolation, the fear, the pain, the sadness. I, like so many of you, had just lost someone to COVID, a rabbinic mentor of mine. the first person I knew personally to die from this horrible virus. This is the first part of the story of how we went into quarantine, how we stayed apart for the sake of the community, for the sake of pikuach nefesh, of saving a life. And now, although we still have a ways to go, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. With more and more members of our community and the greater Philadelphia community being vaccinated, with so much more scientific understanding about how the virus spreads, with fast and reliable testing, with more accessible PPE, we are beginning the second part of our story, the story of how we return. If the first of our Torah portions, Tazria, is all about how we quarantine to keep our community physically safe, the second of our portions, Metzora, is about how we return and how we keep our community connected and vibrant. Metzora is all about bringing the quarantined leper back into the camp. We read at the start of that portion, "This shall be the ritual for a leper at the time that he is to be cleansed. When it has been reported to the priest shall go outside the camp. If the priest sees that the leper has been healed of his scaly affection, the priest shall order 2 live clean birds, cedar wood, crimson stuff, and hyssop to be brought for him who is to be cleansed." The text then goes on to describe a fairly elaborate ritual to welcome the leper back into the community. While there will be no birds, cedar wood, or hyssop when we begin to gather again in person, we have been thinking a lot about what it means to bring our community back to the camp from the isolation of the wilderness. Our reopening How We Gather task force has been busy looking at various options for in-person outdoor services, other connection group events, and how we handle various life cycle moments. We, of course, are also looking to the High Holy Days, when we hope to see many of you in person, while also recognizing the realities that some of us will still engage virtually. We are also looking forward to slowly and safely finding other ways to reconnect in person. Interestingly, at the center of both of these Torah portions are the Kohanim, the priests. The priest was the one to first send the leper into isolation. The priest would then reach out and visit the person. And finally, it was the priest who would work to bring this person back to the camp. As we are taught in the book of Exodus and later by the prophet Isaiah, our entire Jewish community is tasked with being a mamlechet kohanim, a kingdom of priests. What would it mean for each of us to see ourselves, like the ancient priests, tasked with helping our community come back together after a period of isolation? We've actually been doing this work all along. So many of you have been the Kohanim, the priests, helping to heal and bring our community together despite the pandemic. You continue to be Zoom tech angels, facilitating connections online. You have reached out and helped community members find vaccine appointments. You've made connector calls. I was just speaking with a newer member of our congregation who shared with me a story of making her first connectors call. She was very hesitant at first and nervous to call complete strangers, even if they were from her congregation. She told me most people didn't pick up the phone. We think it's probably because she had a West Coast area code. But then she shared that one older woman did pick up the phone. Our new member sensed that she was lonely, and they ended up talking for over an hour. They connected about family, art, things to do in Philadelphia, Judaism, and so much more. I want to leave you with a story, the map of the world. I recently heard this story from Rabbi Phyllis Summer on the Reformed Judaism podcast, The Stories We Tell. There was once a teacher with a group of very inquisitive students, so inquisitive that the teacher was constantly having to find new and challenging activities to engage the students. One particular day, the teacher came up with a great idea. She found a large magazine with a huge map of the world and showed it to all the students. The teacher then tore it up in front of the students and then took those pieces and cut them up to even smaller pieces. The teacher then told the students to put the map back together, gave them some tape and set them to work. The teacher thought it would take the students a long time to figure out this puzzle, especially because they had not yet spent much time on their geography lessons, maybe an hour or so. So the teacher sat down at her desk and waited. 15 minutes later, the teacher was surprised to see the students had already finished the puzzle and put all the pieces together. "How did you do it so quickly?" the teacher asked. "It was easy," said the students. "Well, we didn't exactly know how to sort the whole world out. In fact, at the beginning, it felt really impossible. But then we realized that on the other side of the map, there was a picture of a person, and we knew how to put the person back together. And when we turned it over, the whole world had come together too." Sometimes it may feel like we live in a huge world and that coming together and mending our connections is an enormous task that will take forever. However, as the children in this story and the Kohanim from our portion remind us, when we help to heal another person, we heal our broken world. As we continue to safely bring our community back together, may we bring healing to each other and our broken world. Shabbat Shalom. Our thoughts now turn to thoughts of mourning as we remember those in our congregation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death, we first recall those whose yahrzeit occurs this week. Mary Ann Abrams, Hattie B. Alkus, Essie B. Asher, Alan Auerbach, Sophia Augsburger, Ira J. Benkowski, Dora R. Barnett, Stephen Baer, Morris Berenstain, Joseph Bergsman, Reba Bluebond, Stephen L. Bobman, S. Alfred Boloski, Edith Bonin, Ruth E. Bowman, Pauline Broad, Jane K. Brody, Bertha N. Brody, Alvin Bungard, Gloria Sarmiento Buziek, Harry Lewis Chern, Jacob Dittenfass, Arthur Eggendorf Sr., Lois Brown Eichengreen, Bernard Fagenberg, Herbert Fishman, Alan L. Ford, Eleanor O. Gedrich, Lottie G. Gertzley, Babetta Goldbacker, Clara Grinblatt, Mildred L. Gunzersheimer, Dolly W. Haber, Rachel L. Hart, Harry W. Hauptman, Helen Hauptman, Melvin Hako, Irma Brown Henley, Littman E. Hess, Josephine Hilborn, Jacob A. Hirschberg, Samuel Horowitz, Francis Joseph, Ben Kabakow, Eli Karsh, Gladys Cates, Valley Corin, Jean S. Kramer, Arthur Krieger, Sidney Kroll, Geraldine Lazarus, Mildred Lefko, Martha Schmidt-Leschner, Lillian Handel Levinton, Abraham Levi, Moses Levi, Rose Levi, Carmen Levin, Rose Brown Levin, Zena B. Lowenberg, Louis Marcus, Sylvia P. Messeroff, Phyllis Anathan Myers, R. Leroy Miller, Herbert Myers, Maxine Nasser, James A. Oppenheimer, Miriam Pastor, Helen N. Perlman, Bertha M. Ribakoff, Marwin Rissler, Henry Rosenblum, Otto Rosenblum, Lena Frank Schwab, Bella Lipsnoff, Jesse Sirota, Wolf Shog, Herbert L. Seidenbach, Nina Spinelli, Gertrude Strausman Stein, Max Stein, Harry F. Stern II, Hannah Rose Strauss, Alvin Maxwell Strumpf, Pauline Brenner Tannenholtz, Regina Teller, Eileen Falkentoll, Suzanne Williams, Leanne Rom Wingart, August Wise. We add the names of those who have been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts, in these most recent days for whom we are observing Shaloshim, the 30 days of mourning. Judith Clark, Robert A. Fox, Linda Gross, Victor Rosenberg, Leila Wakil, And we think of all of those who have died of COVID-19. If you are observing Yartzeit or Shaloshim for a loved one whose name was not mentioned, I invite you to add their names to the chat now. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. We join together on page 15 with our Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach yirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam olamei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shemei dekudisha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran ve'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom v'mamav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace and comfort to us all, and let us say, amen.
Those who sow in tears, may they reap in joy. May they reap in joy. Those who sow in tears, may they reap in joy. Our final song is Havenu Shalom Aleichem. As we are preparing to conclude these services and enter into the peace of Shabbat, we hope for peace for ourselves, that it extends well beyond Shabbat, and peace for the entire world. Havenu Shalom Aleichem, Havenu Shalom Aleichem, Havenu Shalom Aleichem, Havenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Havenu Shalom Aleichem, Havenu Shalom Aleichem, Havenu Shalom Aleichem, Havenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Havenu Shalom Aleichem, Havenu Shalom Aleichem, Havenu Shalom Aleichem, Havenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem.
May the peace of Shabbat come upon all of us. May we find that peace. Amen. Shabbat